Welcome everyone to another edition of LunarCRUSH Live. We're really excited today to have a couple of awesome folks come on with us from VIDT Datalink, Joshua and Marnix. But before we do that, John's going to go through a little bit of social data for us. Sure, thanks, Joe. Welcome everyone. I'm just going to review a few of the different metrics we're seeing on LunarCRUSH.com for VIDT Datalink, and it's been a huge week. And it's one thing to look at the social activity on a short-term scale like we're seeing here with 1 week. When we look at it, we've seen on an hourly basis up to 890 individuals posting per hour here. And when we look at that, over time, I mean, relatively speaking, earlier this week, we have, there was 3 people, there was 6 people, and this is still not that bad. I mean, 17, and then all of a sudden we popped up. Well, it popped up again. And what happened? Well, there was a big NFT announcement that I won't talk too much about because I want the team to talk about it. But this is the number of individuals. When we look at the posts that those individuals have made, we've seen as much as 1,075 posts per hour. And I'm showing you this. It almost looks like a Batman formation if we look at it that way. And if we look at this on a yearly basis, this is why it's important to zoom out. Look at where we're at. This is VIDT Datalink's had pretty good social activity, and all of a sudden we're popping to really an all-time high over the last few days here. So when we look at, I should actually explain just on social volume what that means. We're collecting, anytime across Twitter, Reddit, Medium, YouTube. We also collect lots of news activity. And anytime someone mentions VIDT Datalink, the ticker VIDT, across all of these channels, we pick those posts up. And when we pick those posts up, that's what you're seeing graphed over time here. So versus where, let's say you're on Twitter, for example, at a moment in time, you might see a few posts with the people that you're following. This is everything. This is everything across the entire really social sphere as far as like Twitter, Reddit, and et cetera. We're collecting all of that. And those mentions that are in posts create a lot of engagements. And so when we look at those social engagements, I'll zoom back into a week here. What engagement is this is the depth of those posts. So if someone does a social post that mentions VIDT Datalink, within there are there comments, are there retweets, are there upvotes on Reddit? And that's what engagement is measuring. And when you look at that, it's just really telling you, is the community really interacting with this, or is it just a lot of people posting empty posts? And so it's a very important metric to understand, really what's going on. When we look deeper here this week, like who are these individuals that are talking about this? In fact, I want to zoom out to a year. Who are the individuals that are constantly talking about VIDT Datalink? And what we see is, I'll give a few shout outs here. We've got Crypto Wizard, we've got Elja Boom, we've got VIDT Datalink, we've got Cryptos Koala, Moonshilla, CoinTrader Nick, Crypto Lee. There's LunarCRUSH, and the reason we're there is because we keep posting insights that we keep seeing on VIDT. And so, Ajubes, Rudy Bowman, Finance. And so these are the individuals, and you might ask, like, well, how do we know this? Like, how do we know, like, who's most influential? Well, it's really 3 factors. These are individuals that are posting a lot, so activity. These are individuals that are getting a lot of engagement on their posts. And these are individuals where those posts are driving an increase in following. And it's relative to each other. So it's objectively calculating against each other who's getting the most of those 3 things over time. And so whereas someone might be influential one day, they may not be influential one year. Because they might be posting a lot one day and they might go away. So these are the individuals right here that are continuously advocating for VIDT. And just to point out a couple other things, when you look at just the increase that we're seeing, social volume's up over 2,000%, social engagement's up 2,800%, the number of social contributors is up 1,287%. And when we look at these things over time, if you just look at that spike that's just occurred, let's see what happens next. But these are big increases, and these numbers are going to go up if those numbers keep going. So that's my quick update for today, and let's bring in our guest, Joe. Awesome, let's do it.
Hey,
Marnix, Joshua.
hi Joe, hi John. Great to be here.
Thank you guys. Hello. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you guys being here. That was a fun update. It was good to see all of the growth, and you've already got people in here in chat, Maximus, talking about you guys and the tremendous growth and how much fun it is to be a part of the community. So awesome work.
Yeah, and awesome
over the last
dashboard
year.
as well, guys. Looks really great.
Thank you.
Especially
And I appreciate you guys
Joshua
being here. Yeah. One thing we want to start with always is, where are you in the world today? And what's it like? And Marnix, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, I'm in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And what is it like? Yeah, we used to have a bit more secluded environment, and now we are back at home. So that's a pity. I wanted to go back to work, but unfortunately, this is the reality now. And I'm so glad I have my computer and my video calls to keep me updated. But yeah, it's a different reality, and that's a pity. And now in the Netherlands, it's getting worse again, so it doesn't look too good. But work-wise, it looks great for us.
So more video calls then coming in the future for you.
Indeed, yeah.
Cool. And Joshua, how about yourself?
I'm in Rotterdam as well, a different location than Marnix though, but kind of the same story here. It's also raining, so right at the moment it's it could be better. But yeah, I'm just glad that we can do basically everything digitally, and we don't need to be physically at the office anymore to function completely and properly. So for me, it's all okay.
Yeah, projects are still doing great, but yeah, new leads are a bit harder now. You still want that moment in the hallway and just have that feel, and that's a bit different now. But yeah, for us, we always were sitting behind computers, so nothing changed there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And we talk a lot about that as far as, if you've been in the workforce for a while, it's actually, you might be more productive, but for the new people that are coming in and the training that sometimes that needs to be done there, it's much more difficult. Like you said, someone just kind of passing someone in the hallway or some other networking that they might have previously done is now very difficult because the people are, you got to set up a meeting with someone and everything else. So, it's been a journey through crypto for everyone. And so let's talk a little bit about the project. John and I were watching some of the podcasts, doing some research, and it's really the VID, which it sounds like it's VID and then VIDT Datalink's product. Yep. It's the verification of everything, really, is what it sounds like, which is amazing. And so before we get too deep in the project, I wanted to talk just about, it seems like transparency in the crypto space is such a big deal, right? And that's like what we talk about all the time, is creating transparency for investors, creating transparency for projects. You guys are creating transparency for value in any way, shape, or form. Why do you think transparency is such a big deal in our space? And maybe Marnix, we can start with you, and Joshua, you can take a hack at that too.
Yeah, for us, it just started in the normal corporate world. So we had a first project. We've been building software for like 10, 15 years. And then we had one project where it was particularly important to prove the authenticity of digital documents. And then blockchain tech, of course, was great for us to prove the authenticity of documents and us storing digital fingerprints in one or several blockchains. And why it is important? Yeah, because in this day and age, it's hard to trust digital documents, digital data, because it can be manipulated super easy. And timestamping, anchoring, making it verifiable, that is what we do to improve trust in business. And for the crypto space, of course, that is important, but also for us in the corporate space. And for us, blockchain is just the tech to a tool to use it. But normally in our day-to-day work, we just talk with corporates, and crypto is just a separate side dish.
True. Yeah, Joshua, why do you think transparency is important in crypto?
Yeah, so I think historically, when you meet someone, you kind of get a feeling from them, right? You have this gut feeling: is this somebody I can trust? Is this somebody that will hold up to what they're basically saying? And when we look at the crypto industry or the crypto world or blockchain or whatever you want to, how big you want to take it, or we've kind of had some bad news historically, right? Big hacks going on. There's anonymous people trolling. There's just bad stuff all around that happened in the past. But there's also this amazing new form of technology and amazing new potential that we can use to actually better the world. And I think transparency will help us find the true gems instead of the bad stuff, the garbage that is sometimes roaming out there. So I think transparency allows us to see what the actual value is instead of what we perceive the value to be.
Yep, indeed. And now you see with tokenization and NFTs coming up, first being just a hype and yeah, maybe just another hype. But now you really see that being a bridge towards the corporate environment, them for the first time really getting why you need a token and really seeing the potential instead of just, all right, that's Bitcoin. No, that's not for us. And we, of course, already had that bridge with making documents verifiable. That, of course, was the added value why they chose our business. But now NFTs are, yeah, the next big thing. And them really getting that and really seeing the added value really could be the bridge towards them using blockchain more and using crypto more. And having an NFT in their wallet makes sense. Yeah, buying crypto, all kinds of altcoins, that won't make sense to them in the coming years, I think.
I'm curious what kind of demand you're seeing. It sounds like there's like a B2B enterprise side and there's potentially a consumer side. Is it on the B2B side? Is this like, are you part of like a content management system framework, like a process there? Or is it like what kind of use cases are you seeing on both sides of the business?
Well, for our usual service, so making documents verifiable, making data there verifiable, it's just that. So you have companies with valuable documents and with valuable data, and in their workflow, they want to make sure that everyone can check in a certain point in time that the data is still not manipulated, still authentic. And that has various use cases, some very valuable and very expensive per timestamp and per validation, we call it. And sometimes you have such large volumes that per validation it is quite cheap. But now with NFTs, we want companies and we want them to we want to enable them to create NFTs for physical products and for luxury goods, and now even for company stocks and eventually also social privileges. And yeah, for now that's just consultancy and enabling them, but eventually we are looking at business models that will make their success our success.
I think Joshua, in a previous interview, you talked about Cornerstone use cases.
Oh yeah.
Can you go over that for some of our viewers and let them know kind of how the way you guys think about that?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. So when a business starts, it usually is to solve a problem, right? There's other people or businesses that kind of discover that they have something to solve. And so VID was formed to solve the problem that we've encountered, that was to how do you trust certain types of documents, right? So what we do with these Cornerstone use cases, we try to find these use cases that are very easy to understand but very cool. But they might not bring in that much of a business revenue, if you will, compared to the higher volume cases that we do. But these use cases are such a great way to sort of give a scope to conversations when we meet new leads or new companies, to sort of have them understand in one single go what we do and what we stand for and what the actual value of VID brings to these to their problems, right? And I think the latest, and in my opinion, one of the most cool Cornerstone use case that we've done is the Rolex certification and proving the authenticity of the actual certificate of authenticity, if you will. So it's kind of a double, but we've kind of made it easy to prove if this Rolex is real or not. And we're talking about like big money here. So it's an awesome way to show people that using our tech is such an easy step to prove how much something is worth and actually real and also still authentic. And these are what we use these Cornerstone use cases for.
What does a vintage Rolex go for?
That kind of depends.
Yeah, but say 20, 30,000 euros until even $1 million. And yeah, the one we are doing as a first example is more like in the last category. So yeah, crazy amounts.
Wow.
And definitely worth protecting. And yeah, with NFT, I was just referring to that. It used to be, in my opinion, just a new crazy hype. And of course, I'm not the target group. There really might be people who want a digital art object on their phone and pay good money for that. But yeah, I'm of course a bit older. Joe, you were hitting 35, I think, and John?
Yeah,
close.
Close, right. So yeah, of course, I would like to have one NFT just for the feel of it. But for us, it really needs to be linked to physical objects and to enable people to sell NFTs and to make them buy physical objects linked to those NFTs. And I think our approach is very unique because we really store the fingerprint of a digital certificate within that NFT. So other NFTs often link to a dynamic environment like a URL or just a number. And if you then change the content on that URL, the link is actually gone. And in our use case, we put the hash, the unique fingerprint of a certificate within that NFT and forever linking that, because you cannot change that hash and you cannot change the content without changing the hash within that NFT. So then you have like a holy trinity of the real physical object, the digital certificate verified by VID, and the NFT in the wallet of the unique new owner. And we think that there are so many use cases for that. So this is what Joshua says, a Cornerstone example. But yeah, company stock, we of course have the Rembrandt case. So we're talking to that was fine art again to see if we can do that entire collection. The sky is the limit in what you enable when you enable those traditional companies to trade NFTs and linked physical objects with them.
So how Joshua said something earlier about verifying that it's authentic, and how does that work? I mean, I have in my mind, there's so many shows on TV, and in the US here we have Antiques Roadshow, we have Pawn Stars, we have you know, myself, I've traded baseball cards a lot when I was younger, and I have a humongous box in my garage, a lot of which I think are authentic. But you know, like how does that verification process work? How do you know that something's actually authentic and verified? Is it an individual looking at it, or?
So when it comes to these older pieces, these vintage watches, we cannot go back in time and have Rolex say that these guys are real, right? They've gone places, people have touched them, people might have edited them. So what when we talk about proving the authenticity now, we're actually talking about specialists that are that have studied and are educated in proving the validity of these watches and have their basic or not basic, but they have their expert understanding written down in what we call like I think it's called a certificate of authenticity is what we call it, right, Marnix?
Yep.
And that in combination with the macro photos, different types of evidence that this watch is specifically is the authentic one, and combine everything together, and now you have this digital package that you can have next to the physical piece itself to prove the authenticity of this piece, right? So when it comes to your baseball cards, it can be kind of compared here is where an actual baseball card expert, somebody that we all look up to understand how this market works, how these cards were produced, and what the real ones look like and what the fake one looks like, and look at all the scratches, look at all the marks, see what condition it is in, and basically have the specialist say, okay, I declare that this is a real one, and that declaration with the evidence is what we actually provide in our service when it comes to checking the validity.
So you have verified, you have individuals that are trusted individuals that are experts in the space that do this. So and then me, the owner of say a baseball card that's valuable, I go to that individual, I'm getting certified, and then I have like an app on my phone that's got the NFT in it. Is that correct?
That would be the way. Of course, it's not yet there for baseball cards, but
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
if you know someone in that sector, we are very interested, of course. But
Sure.
that would be the way. So you have a third party, an expert declaring your baseball card to be valid, to be the real thing. And then the new NFT, the digital certificate, and your baseball card will travel to the next owner if you sell it. And then he will have the same proof. And if he wants to make sure that it's the real thing, he visually verifies it, compares it to the content of the certificate, then checks the authenticity of that certificate, because of course you could have falsified that PDF.
Right.
And then you check it in with our servers or with the embedded widget on the website of the expert. And then you see, okay, it's so authentic, so I can trust the content. Then I can confirm it with the baseball card. And then, you got the real thing still.
Wow.
And if you need more, the uniquer the object is, the easier it is to verify. So if you have brand new Nikes and brand new Nikes from another batch, maybe not produced within the batch that Nike has given or proved to be authentic. So the Nikes are like not unique but similar. Then an NFT would be like the difference you need, because just the PDF certificate would not make a difference, but giving an NFT to the new buyer and not giving an NFT to the one who bought the forgery, that would make the difference, in our opinion, for the future. If that makes sense.
It's great. You guys should be talking to Supreme and all the Pokemon cards, and man, oh man, wow.
That's the discipline. Yeah, we have so many potential leads that we really now need others to help us with that, and us just focus on the tech and on the ecosystem, and them just doing our trick as well. Because it's getting a bit tough to follow up on all these leads and all these potential things. Because the sky really is the limit, and I think others like us will pop up as well now, doing the same thing. And that's okay, because it's just market validation. The world is big enough for this concept.
Yeah, you just need to be focused on your roadmap and execute, and that's all you can do. If you're growing, if you have inbound leads so much that you can't even handle it, I think there's enough room in the space. So that's good. That's really good to hear. Yeah,
indeed, handled in the right way, and it costs a lot of time to convince them and to make it their own. And it's a special sport, and others do that perhaps better. We can better focus on that infrastructure and on the tech, and let someone else do the sales part and do the implementation. But we enjoy it as well, especially for those Cornerstone projects. I really love those projects, those little adventures, and really making sure it gets done in the right way. Because what John just said, if you don't have a trusted third party, or just someone claiming this to be a real Nike or a real diamond or a real whatever, it's bad for our image if not authentic products or data gets validated to be true, and they aren't. So we really want to be careful with who we KYC and trust to validate documents and data.
I want to throw a personal story out that happened.
Yeah, cool.
Exactly with what you're saying. A long time ago, in 1984, there was the U.S. Olympic baseball team for the United States, and on that team, there were just superstar baseball players like Mark McGwire, Will Clark, Adib McDowell. Like, there's these big stars on this team, and I bought a signed ball and bat from the whole team, and came with a certificate of authenticity, right?
Voila. Yeah.
And I went to go sell the ball one day. I still have the bat, and I went to go sell the ball one day, and I brought it into a two different dealers, and when I did that, they both told me that the certificate of authenticity, the ball looked great, but they didn't trust the certificate of authenticity. that came with it. It was just a printed paper. It was signed by someone that no one knew who it was. And the ball checked out, but the certificate did not. And so because of that, they didn't want to give me much money for the ball.
So if you just brought the ball, then it was fine?
I guess the certificate was in question. And I think this is a very, very common thing that collectors face across the board, especially with like paintings. Paintings are all like crazy. But this is a very, very common problem. And you're right. I mean, some things are worth millions of dollars, and there's $100,000 determines to see if it's real. So big issue.
Through that Amsterdam Vintage Watches, we want to talk with Philips. It's an auction house, and they, of course, before they sell something, they clean it up, they check it, and they check if it's authentic, of course. And that will be something for us. So be in those processes and those workflows at the right time, so the right person just does an extra step, and then whoop, it's validated, and the certificate travels along with the product. But yeah, still, this is just a small part of what we do, and we get enthusiastic about it. But yeah, the bulk of our service are boring documents. So documents for oil batches, documents of sensor data. And yeah, it's not as sexy to talk about, but yeah, that is what is paying the bills. But still, yeah, it's super cool to make short videos and explaining it to people. And that is what, of course, gets the boring ones excited too.
Well, that sometimes is where the money is at, though. So that's okay. Which kind of leads to the next question about the team a little bit and structure. I mean, you guys are kind of B2B with a lot of things that you're working on. You're doing these really kind of cool marketing product type oriented things that are showcasing case studies, what you're doing. You also have a coin and a blockchain, and you're managing this. And you said, what does a team look like to kind of manage all of these different facets of the business? How are you guys growing? How are you guys funding this? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, great question. So we have a very close core team. I was just saying 10 to 15 years we've been together, working together. Yeah, more than friends, almost like, how do you say it, the business marriage. And I have a wife as well, but yeah, she's jealous about that relationship. And so very close core team. And then we have Joshua and Gert-Jan, who are also coming more and more into that close circle. Joshua's it's only been 2 years, I think, right, Josh?
Yeah, I think actually we might hit the 2-year mark in like a week or something.
Oh wow!
Remember that that I started with 50, so.
Yeah, let's see if I can get another nice watch for you. Yeah. but
maybe
yeah,
a vintage Rolex.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, well, I don't care about any of that, so that's quite crazy. I don't feel anything with Rolexes. But Joshua, I think you.
I'm a watch guy. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But Joshua's only 2 years, but yeah, VID also is only 2 years, a bit longer. So it feels like forever, because the crypto space, of course, is just an extra space for us. We indeed focus on B2B, but time travels so fast with the crypto space, and I sometimes don't know where I can find the time, because I love to do that as well. So posting in the Telegram chat, tweeting myself. I love the speed of the space, and for B2B, you really have to be careful. So everything we post on LinkedIn, it takes a lot more time and a lot more checking before you release it in there. And on Telegram and Twitter is much faster, and a very low barrier to share it there. And I really love the energy that gives it me. But I actually should find other people to do that for me. And Joshua keeps telling me that as well. And then we have a lot of people around it just doing the normal stuff. So controlling the databases, developing, answering phones, answering emails. But the core team, they wear very much different hats, as Joshua usually says it. And that is what we are working on for the next weeks and months, scaling that up and we will release more information on that in the coming weeks as well, because we have a very nice solution for that that won't cost us too much resources, and so a very easy and safe way to scale up.
I always tell Marnix that these kinds of subjects he has to be careful with, because he's kind of reaching in treacherous, dangerous waters here, NDA waters. So I'm just going to chime in here and say that we've kind of built the company at the moment to be what we call role-based or head-based. It's like you wear different hats compared to what kind of roles you are. And I think the biggest structure that we're working on now is relieving as much work from Marnix as possible, so he can focus on the strategy side of things. Whereas we have different individuals that can focus on what they're best at. And I think an important part of it is, of course, marketing, operations, sales. It's just scaling the business in that sense. And Gert-Jan, as Marnix just mentioned, is a big inspiration for us, and a trusted advisor that helps us scale it to the next level. And we're always looking at new opportunities to do it even faster. And Marnix sort of hinted at that. So
every time we run into a big problem, he just chuckles, and well, that's nothing. Because he used to run like a 200 people department for KPN. It's a Dutch telecom provider. So all problems we face, it's nothing, and just go on. And he's helping us doing that scale process. And it feels great to have someone like that coaching you and being always available. And the other members of the core team are Pim and Chase. And Pim, I don't know if you've seen his videos. That is really his thing. So creating those short promo videos and short medium articles, and that really made us. And Chase is like the genius who wants to stay behind the curtains. Is that the phrase?
We have one of those as well.
Yep, indeed. And you cannot do without them, but not the ones you send to customers. But indeed, but without them we couldn't have done it as well. And so that is really the core team, and the others. They're doing great, but they need support, and they need more help from. And there I go again. So thanks, Josh.
We sound similar. It's like we've been around. What we launched last April. Yeah, and we have a small core team that wears many hats. We're looking to expand and grow, and we have the same marketing challenges, strategy and marketing, and trying to take a hat off and let someone else do a better job than you at it. You always want to find someone better than you, not manage them, but like take it to the next level. And it's like we have the same issue. But I will just tell you guys, if you look at what we just showed, all you have to really do is do more of this Rolex-like marketing that you just did. It's one of the things is it's doing a lot of activity, and like we post 20, 30, 40 times a day on different platforms. And there's one side that's a lot of activity, and there's another side that like drives a lot of interaction and a lot of like third parties talking about what you're doing. What you guys just did was the biggest thing you've ever done that we've measured. So, super cool. So if you just think about that with your strategy, there's a lot more you can do.
Yep, and it's also graadmeter. How do you say that, Joshua?
That's actually an interesting word. It's like sort of like a key performance indicator, I think.
Okay. So when we test in the crypto market and you see the reaction, then hey, maybe this could land in the real world as well. Because that, of course, is always for us a bit difficult. As Joshua also said, crypto still has that sometimes negative association, and now you see with NFT that's almost all gone. That is why I really believe this will be our next big step, and it will bring our core service to another level. I don't think we will produce like great volumes of NFTs, but the use cases around that will produce a lot of validated documents, and that is still where we make a living of. And especially when it comes to stock certificates and the potential of that, it won't produce a lot of NFTs for stock, but there's a lot of documents around that process. And with Firm24, that company we're doing it with, they're such expert in building a business online. You can start a business here in the Netherlands online with their service. And having all those documents and all those steps validated and then made verifiable. Yeah, very interesting.
How does that process look like? I mean, what's some of the language that you're using when you're talking to some of these more corporate companies? I mean, are you using NFTs? Are you saying verification? Are you using blockchain? What is that?
Great question.
Yeah. What does that sound like?
It depends on the target group, because sometimes they're like 50, 60-year-old CEOs, so you have to be careful with introducing a lot of terms. But a lot of them, especially in our network, have been working with it a long time. So you have CMS Law. I just got off the phone with Katja, a partner there, and she's really into it. And nothing new. What I say is nothing new to her, and but legally there's a lot new what they know that we don't know, and so when we introduce those new use cases, you already see a lot of bears on the road. Is that a phrase in the UK or in the US?
I don't think so. A lot of bears on the road.
Bears on the road.
Like you got it.
Never seen a bear on the road.
Right. Yeah. You have to dodge him or face him.
You might say a lot of deer on the road here. I'm not sure what we would use.
In crypto, I think it could be a new one. You don't want bears on the road, but you don't want bulls either. But that really helps us. So sparring with them, and we really build a relationship with them. And first time we went there was before COVID, like super classy, beautiful hotel building, but it's a law firm, and we were quite intimidated. But now, we can call them and ask them anything, and that really helps. And the same for IBM. When we first got there, we were intimidated, and we thought, this IBM our big chance. And now, they're just people, and they just want to do cool stuff as well. And when we deliver a short promo movie, it reflects on them. They share it on LinkedIn, more exposure and easier for next customers to convince them. Hey, IBM is doing this, so you can do it too. And CMS Law is backing us legally, so don't worry about that part. And it makes our life so easy.
I think most importantly is that we focus on the added value. So what can we actually solve for these big corporations? And I think when you look at the more blockchain-sided companies that have their own blockchain or have a more technical expertise, usually they talk in tech jargon, and that's big. Usually a big kind of problem for these bigger corporations because they simply don't understand it and it becomes scary, or they become intimidated by it all. So we focus on what can we solve for you and what does it mean. And usually we explain them what blockchain is and what it means for their business and what it means for our business. And then they think it's awesome when we get to it. But especially in the beginning, we need to focus on the use case itself and what the business will do for it.
Yep. But before COVID, it was enough to just say, you'll be using blockchain tech to verify your documents. But now after COVID, it needs an extra step, and they really focus on the added value and making their documents verifiable and improving processes in that way. And so it got more challenging, but it also were better use cases for us, because in the beginning we also have to admit done projects where there really wasn't an added value. It was just a cool innovation project for those customers. And we really need to go for added value to really scale up as well and teach others to do the same trick as well.
So I'm curious on the enterprise side, on the B2B side, are you seeing, so I could see there's like an innovation team that's sitting inside of a large organization that's trying to experiment, and a lot of their output is like a marketing video and saying, look at the neat thing we tried.
Yeah.
Are you actually seeing solid business use cases trying to be solved? And are you seeing budgets go up on the enterprise side?
Most definitely. So when you look at B2B, it can be from small companies to bigger enterprises. So when we talk about these innovation teams, it's almost always on the bigger side of the companies, right? So the ones with more multinationals, bigger teams, whatever. and their budget is definitely going up. And what we kind of notice is that, well, it depends on the sector they're in due to Corona, but before Corona, so the last year or something, it has been going up because the economy has kind of been increasing and become better. So these companies are actually starting to invest in innovation in order to grow and scale their new business opportunities. So that's a nice question.
Great question.
So most definitely, because what they discovered is that find innovation through these kinds of teams, then just invest in it by either buying this company or scaling this specific use case with the company, as a partner, and you have a new business opportunity. And especially in the Netherlands, we've kind of discovered that bigger corporations are getting more acquainted and more fond of using this kind of growing their business this way. So that's a good question, though. Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys find an internal champion, so you kind of get through to IBM, and I think I saw one of the videos was air quality, which was really interesting and applicable to Southern California, where John and I are sitting right now.
Oh, yeah.
Where we've got a lot of fires, and we had a really bad one 2 days ago where the air quality is bad. But that aside a little bit, when you find these internal champions at the larger corporations, do you find that some of these people are then going and purchasing the token and are kind of investigating crypto more and saying, okay, this is an interesting, I'm now going and finding out that, there's all these different things that I can buy, because it's really like we're all going public at the very beginning, or are they just completely separate and that's not part of what they're even allowed to do?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen at all. So we had companies finding out we had a token after like 2 years we were working together with them. So we really keep that in the background because of the, negative aspect of crypto, and they're just not understanding that space, and they don't need to understand, in our opinion, that space, because they just want their hashes being stored in one or several blockchains and making it verifiable. But now with NFT, it's starting to get there. And when people will have their NFTs in Trust Wallet, just to prove that they bought a piece of art or a luxury object or a piece of stock, then of course that bridge is not so large to take. So that will definitely be a new thing for us, and a better narrative, if you want to call it that as well, because verifying documents, blockchain, but not crypto, but using NFT and storing it, then it's of course a different conversation.
It's in the name.
Also, and also now with PayPal coming up in January here in Europe, it's getting more accepted. You have BNR Radio here, Business Radio Network, and every morning you have a short crypto podcast. So it's getting there, and it's getting more accepted and getting more positive instead of negative. And of course, you have all these rich people looking for opportunities to put their money in. And Bitcoin is getting there as a serious alternative for all the other ones. And we see it more coming and being more accepted, but we don't really look it up. When we have a conversation with a corporate, it could be riskful to start that conversation. So we just focus on the added value.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And so as we're coming up to the hour,
already.
So So I know I was like, I could go a whole another hour.
Okay. Wow.
I know you guys
go, stop at 6. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just give us a quick, so where does this head? What is the vision? Where's the future? At least in the next, maybe we'll call it like 6 to 8 months, because your company's month is another company's year at this point.
Yeah, well, we focus on Q4 now, and so I have a lot of things coming up, but scaling up that IBM project. I have another call this Friday for doing a very cool pilot within the IBM building. We have, of course, the NFT cases. So for luxury goods, for company stocks, super interesting together with Firm24. First, we start with making stock registers verifiable, and then move from there to NFTs for part of a company. Of course, the expansion. I forgot. Sebastian won't be happy. The WordProof partnership. I don't know if you've seen that with Sebastian van der Lans from WordProof, an upcoming player.
Not.
No,
Okay.
well, you definitely need to. You don't need to do anything, but look into it.
I will.
Because they have plugins for WordPress and for all kinds of other CMS systems, and then they make web content and news articles verifiable. And they just did a partnership with Yoast, an SEO optimization company, and when things will go as they want it to go, using their tech will get you ranked higher into Google. So there will be the incentive to use their tech. And the question will be, why are you not protecting your website with blockchain tech? Why don't you make your pages and your website history verifiable? That partnership, humongous potential as well.
It's really interesting.
What more the hardware projects? Yeah, that's really it's bigger than us, I think, and he has such a drive. So I could be very wrong, but I don't think so. I think he will move up really quick.
I've got a lot of experience with very large enterprise content management systems, and a big key selling point of what they say is that it's legally compliant. And so you can look back the change history, you can look at all of that stuff, but it's still hidden within their own system if you can even find it.
Right.
But to push that onto a blockchain is huge. That's really a good idea.
Yeah, and seeing like a time capsule of all the edits, and if you do that, you get ranked higher, so you get rewarded when you're transparent. So we're back to the beginning now. That of course is the big deal, and for us it will be making documents verifiable, physical products verifiable, and for them it will be making content of web pages verifiable and website owners verifiable. So super cool. We got a hardware project coming up end November, and the biggest validator for us till date. So too much. And we have Joshua protecting me for not getting a burnout.
I'm trying to. My focus will be especially on getting our business internally and all the sales and marketing processes up running successfully, or even more successful, so that Marnix can take a breather sometimes.
Yep. And you guys, so a bit more about you and LunarCRUSH. What do you want from projects like us, and how can we help to help each other?
Well, you're doing it right now by being transparent and coming on to shows like this and talking to people about the roadmap and your passion and kind of putting your faces out there. I think in our space, we're kind of graduating to this next level of, more legitimate businesses operating in the space with people that have enterprise experience like yourselves. And I think it's like you're saying, it's people that are kind of validating the space more and showcasing the use cases that really matter and it do have a serious effect on consumers and kind of snuffing out the middleman a little bit and creating value. And so I think it's keep pushing down those paths and keep staying transparent and keep your community passionate, which it looks like they are.
Yep, they're great.
That's it.
It's insane. I could have never predicted that. I mean, you start a project and just a business, and now you have like a community with fans, and it's awesome, and it's a big responsibility as well. But a crazy space, and you cannot explain that to a normal world like you have a whole community behind you.
It's very different.
It's not just a community though. These are like actually passionate people that see added value in your use case, and they want to help so much. So especially what Jen just said, so it's so much appreciated, and we cannot say I just cannot iterate enough that we think we couldn't have done it without this community. So keep it up, guys, and thank you so much for everything. And I think LunarCRUSH is also nailing it community-wise. So
thanks, guys. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And maybe even look into WordProof in that way, because making your stats you were just showing, making them verifiable and prove you haven't been tampering them afterwards. could be added value, and websites clicks if you're using banners on your platform and site. There are all possibilities there, and oh wow, there I go again.
Well, we'll definitely check it out, and we'll have to do this again. But Joshua, Marnix, you guys, thank you so much. John, as always, we'll chat for a second with you guys backstage. But thank you so much, and thank you everyone for listening. This is awesome.